Hey there, everybody, and welcome to Cinema Stubs. I'm Joshua Ryan, where we talk movies, television, and all things pop culture. I'm here with Tim. How's it going, Tim?
Good, man. How you doing? Happy to sit in for Matt. It's going to be fantastic.
We got a good episode here because we also have not only Tim, we have a guest who's actually important. We've got Brandon Stanley here from She-Hulk. You may know him as Leapfrog. How's it going, Brandon?
It's going great, man. I wouldn't say I'm more important, but it's going great.
It's all about perspectives. Yeah, it's all about perspectives. So we are recording this the Monday before the finale. This is going to air the Wednesday before the finale. So this is all really just kind of like preparation. We're leading up for the finale here. I want to talk about your episode. I want to talk about your role as Leapfrog. All that was awesome, but I'm going to get like kind of Dr. Phil here, man. I want to start with your childhood. How did you get into acting? Like where did this begin? Was this something you'd always wanted to do as a kid? Were you a Marvel kid? Like what happened?
Also, I've always wanted to be on Dr. Phil. So pretty simple story. I as I was a kid, I didn't know what acting was. I didn't know it was a thing, but I knew that it was in me. Like it was a thing that I just loved doing, like performing for people, being someone else for other people's entertainment was always such a cool idea to me. But I didn't really get into acting, like the craft, until I was like in high school, which I did for like a year. But then after I actually dropped out of college when I was 23 to just go out on a limb and try this thing out.
So when you were in high school, were you like a drama kid? Is that what you're saying?
So no, I was a sports kid. I was a wrestler, which I actually did in college as well. So I wasn't really able, I would join when I was a junior, I joined the drama class, Drama 1.
Okay.
We did a monologue, and then the teacher just bumped me straight to Drama 4, which was like the advance.
Oh, nice.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do any of the plays because of wrestling, so I never really got to perform, but I did kind of get to be around acting and that kind of thing, just not really participating.
So Tim and I, we actually went to high school together back in the day, and we were the drama nerds, like full on in the drama club, going to the competitions and all that. In fact, we were in drama club and like high school buddies with Miles Teller. So, and he's obviously more famous than the two of us combined. So there was something good going on in drama club.
Just name dropping.
I
like, what was that? Just a casual flex right there.
Oh, we used to know Miles Teller. It's not like we know him anymore, but yeah. So
I mean, if he still has his old number, I got it. That's all I know.
Just blow it up. Let's call him right now.
Let's call him right now. Yeah.
Get him on the podcast.
Yeah, why not?
So when you went to college, you said you continued wrestling in college?
Yeah. Yes.
And then you dropped out when you were 23.
Yeah, and then I dropped out. I dropped out of college when I was 23. I had another year and a half left of school. But I just hit one of those, it's one of those classic stories of like, it's not rock bottom, but you realize that this isn't the life that you want. And then that aha moment happens where you're just like, wait, I'm a human being. I can do whatever I want. So let's go be an actor. Who's going to stop me?
So when you were in college, what was the game plan after college? What career were you working towards before you had this epiphany?
Oh, dude, man, I didn't really have a solid plan. I was getting a finance degree, business finance with a minor in real estate finance, which, dude, like, that is so far.
Seems specific.
Yeah, and it's nothing, nothing against financial managers or anything, financial planners, whatever. But for me, that was something I absolutely should have not have been doing for anybody. And I was just kind of getting the basic degree, a little bit specific, so maybe I could fit into something after college, but no real plan.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to end up in a job you're going to hate. I mean, those are the worst. Tim, have you ever had a job that you just despised and wanted out of?
Yeah, my current job. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I've had odds and ends jobs here and there, but I don't hate my job. I enjoy my job. I was just teasing. There was a lot of fun. I want to ask you, Brent, where are you from originally? Like, was it a big move? I assume you went out to L.A., or was it like, hey, I live in Cali, so I'm already here?
So I went to Atlanta. No, it's crazy. My dad was in the Air Force before my parents separated. And so I was born in South Dakota. When I was 5 years old, we moved to Alabama, where I lived in Hoover until I was 16. When I was 16, my mom got remarried, and then we moved to Oklahoma City, where I was
you're
there
just a
until
nomad.
I was 20. Huh?
I said you're just a nomad. You're all over the place. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was all over the place, and it was, which I think kind of helped me make the decision to drop everything and go, because that's kind of how my life
You don't really
was
have any
already.
roots.
Just like we didn't spend, like my childhood wasn't spent at this house. There's nothing keeping me there, and that's kind of the mindset I had leaving Oklahoma. Was like, there's really nothing keeping me here. What's stopping me? Let's just go, Atlanta.
So when you go, was it the basic stereotypical, I'm a waiter, trying to earn enough tips to keep going to my dream job?
So, it's pretty cool, because it's statistically this never happens, but I happened to just book my first role. So I actually started in Oklahoma, which has a much smaller market, much more specific market. A lot of people didn't even know that it had a market. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just went out, CSA casting director. I went out, auditioned, booked the first thing I auditioned for. So I think, I got it a lot easier than most people. I think a lot of people go out for auditions for years and years and years and never even hear back, and still be the greatest actor in the world. But
so what was that? What was that first gig that you picked up?
So it was for I doubt anybody has watched this, but anybody that's watching this maybe. But it's called To the Stars. It's a great movie. You can actually watch it on Hulu now.
Oh, nice.
It's a bit of an indie film, but it was Screen Actors Guild, so it has that professional look to it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, but that was my first ever audition. It was just like a kind of a jock role. Yeah, he was only supposed to be in there for like one scene, but I think they wrote me in for 2 extra scenes just for fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And so how old were you at that time? That was 23, 24? That was young
23,
you?
yeah. Good memory, yeah. 23.
Which Tim and I were trying to guess your age before you came on. We were guessing way younger, man. You look good for your age. So just so you know.
I'm curious. How old do you think I am? Like, if you cast a role.
I was saying mid 20s, like 27-ish, around there, I would say.
I'm 27.
Right?
I am 27.
Are you 27?
Okay.
27 years old.
Oh, nice.
So wait, IMDb.
So, it wasn't IMDb. It was a random. We were trying to figure it out.
Some random dude lied about you and said you were much older. So that's why we were like, he looks so good for his age.
Well, how old did it say I was?
Something said you were like 38.
38.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. We were like, he looks.
No.
Yeah, we're like, he looks fantastic.
Listen, you might still look like.
Give me 3 years. I'm not going to be looking young. I already know. Genetics.
Well, no, I got the receding hairline going, so that's why
he's wearing a hat.
So,
I wouldn't let him come on without a hat.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in like. Yeah. No.
So I want to talk. I saw because we did look at your IMDb page. Hopefully, some of this is correct. That we saw Richard Jewell.
Oh yeah.
I remember seeing Richard Jewell in theaters not that long ago and absolutely loved it. I didn't realize you were in it. What was your role in Richard Jewell?
So I love the role. I mean, for where I was in my career, it could not have been better. But I was at the beginning of the movie, he is a kind of like a security guard for a college, right?
Right.
And he busts in the room. These guys, he got noise complaints of these guys drinking and being all kind of crazy in their room. And he goes in, and it's me, kind of drunk and just being obnoxious, and I kind of get in his face until he kind of pushes me down, and that's when I get him fired from that job.
Okay, I do remember that. I got to go back and watch it now. That's cool.
And I gotta say, so what is this podcast rated?
It's whatever. It kind of rolls with it. Yeah, we're good with whatever.
Let's give it. It'll be good. It'll be fine. But on that set, I was in my dorm room, you know, and this speaks to how brilliant Clint Eastwood is, and brilliant the set designers are that he has on with him on his team, because he uses pretty much the same people. I lift my mattress up. Nobody told me to. I just randomly lift my mattress up, and there's like 3 Playboys just sitting underneath it. I'm just like, dude, who thinks of this stuff? Like, this is just some side scene to kind of build character for the lead, and they're putting this much effort into just things that people aren't even going to see. And I'm just like, wow. Like,
so was Clint Eastwood on set there for this scene? Like,
yeah, dude,
that's awesome, man.
So I've always had this thing, and I'm sure some actors watching this will kind of understand. When you're in the presence of someone that you have like idolized, you try to play it so cool. You try to just be like, "What's up, man? How's it going?" You know what I mean? Like, I'm here, I'm an actor, I'm important too. But I remember he just came in there, and it was just me and him in my dorm room, and he was just like looking around. Like, I think he was almost waiting for me to say something too, because I was too starstruck. I was just like,
right.
That is.
I mean, I would be too. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was just like, you know, I mean, just improvise, have fun with it. Like, once he realized I wasn't going to talk to him, he was just like, listen, just have fun. He probably could see I was a little nervous. He was like, dude, just do whatever you want. Don't worry about the script. You know, if you want to get this, throw it across the room, do it. Like, the scene that we ended up using for Richard Jewell was not even scripted. Like, it was all kind of...
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, dude, Paul Walter Hauser is the man. The guy that plays Richard Jewell.
Yeah, I love him in that role. I love him in a lot of stuff, but that role, he was like a perfect Richard Jewell.
He's amazing. Yeah. And then I started looking at his other stuff, like I, Tonya, and like he had a little...
Yeah.
Like, that dude, he's all... Dude, Paul Walter Hauser.
It is pretty great for him to be like, what is it, Stingray and Cobra Kai?
Cobra Kai,
it's like crazy, just out of nowhere, like the older guy who joins this youth karate class, and then like Richard Jewell, where he's like zoned in, just locked in on every role. It's crazy.
He was so good, and on set he was the most like humble. He was just like, I remember he was like kind of pushing past people after the scene, because like after the scene, I mean, y'all won't remember, but he leaves, you know, and goes left out my dorm room, and like I get him fired, whatever.
Right.
But after each take, he would just come back and push through everyone, and be like, Brandon, like we would just start coming up with new ideas, and I'm just like, this might be, and I honestly mean this, dude, and I've said this since the start, since I booked this role. Paul Walter Hauser is one of the most humble actors I've ever worked with in my entire life.
See, I love hearing stuff like that. It's always good to know.
Dude, yeah.
That's awesome.
Like, I'm a huge fan of him now. He's brilliant.
And he was, I'll say, my favorite part of Cruella.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't even know
he's in Cruella, and he's one of, you know, in the cartoon she has her 2 little henchmen, Cruella de Vil, who go out and steal all the puppies. He's one of those guys. He's perfect in the role. He does the accent and everything. It's great.
Dude,
Cruella's great.
So
Cruella, if you haven't seen Cruella, you should check it out. I really enjoy Cruella. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
yeah, it's good stuff.
Question then: if you're talking about Clint Eastwood, just pretty much throwing out the script, what do you like better as an actor? Do you like it something like that atmosphere, or like someone who's like stick to the line, stick to the script, not in a mean way, but in like a this is what we're really going for, like, or you like that freedom you were saying, I guess.
So that was a dream. I mean, if any chance for me to kind of not worry about being within the script, I feel is when I can really dive into the scene more. Because I don't feel like there's anything, I don't need to hit certain beats.
Right.
Yeah.
Had, you know, like for Richard Jewell, we had an idea. We wanted it to kind of build and lead up to him just kind of pushing me on the thing and then getting fired. But that's really all we knew at that point, but that was just perfect. When he said just throw away the script, I was like, I love you. You are the best director in the world. Like, because he was an actor first. And you can tell because he gives so much freedom to the actors. But No, yeah, no. That any chance to improvise is always going to be. I mean, even on She-Hulk, I did some improv. Like it's improv will always be my favorite thing because I consider myself to be more of like not a method act, not method actor. I'm not out like being a frog, but like
Right.
I do enjoy kind of letting go once the scene starts. Just kind of letting
Right.
myself be in that moment and just kind
So playing this jerky character who antagonizes poor old Richard Jewell and then gets him fired, which is such a cocky college kid move. Do you enjoy being able to be a jerk, like getting to play kind of like going into that arrogant, not nice guy kind of role there?
So, do I enjoy it? Not as much as I enjoy being the sweet guy. I haven't got to be the
Right.
sweet guy. But, hey, if anybody's watching this from the future, you'll see. You know what I'm talking
Right.
about. The sweet guy. I'm meant to be the sweet guy. But
You got a very sweet face. Yeah, I see it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I do know I have this kind of jockey, tough guy, smart ass energy of like, oh, well, what are you going to do, huh? I'll get you kicked out. One of those
Right.
things that just like, I know it's fun to play and it's a lot easier to play for me being the bad guy. And I think any person would agree, any actor would agree that playing the bad guy is always going to be a lot easier and just kind of.
Right.
But, my dream role would be like just something super specific. The good guy, the scientist, the nerd. I don't know. I want to play against what my type is right now.
Dude, what about
Yeah.
you? Dude, you should do a rom-com. I could see you as the sweet, lovable rom-com dude.
Come on. Hey,
Yeah.
DC, I know you're watching. CBS, what's up? CW,
Right?
what's up?
Let's
Well,
make it
I'm in
happen.
favor of like if you're saying you want to do more improv. I want to see some sketch improv, some more comedy.
Yeah, well,
That's-
I
Oh, yeah.
joined. I did improv in college. Like, I did a little improv group in college.
Yeah.
I knew then that I loved it a lot.
Improv is a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. And the especially in college where people kind of care even less about, being cool and like, because improv
Yes.
is about just letting it go. Make weird noises, be weird and all that stuff. And it's like, that did help me kind of be more vulnerable. But
And that stuff can be so hard to do at first. That improv stuff when you're on stage and the teacher's just like, be a sick butterfly. And I'm like, I don't know how to be a sick butterfly. You just got to do some weird stuff, man.
But the thing is like, it's all about taking out that first door, like what you just said. Like you're like, oh, I don't know how to do that. That's the
Right.
door. You shut that door already, and that's the very first door. But if you just open that door and it's just like, feel it and then do it, your first reaction, your knee-jerk reaction, that's like true improv. That's like true. That's the art of it all. Is to just like you're not thinking about anything. You're just being, and just when things come in, you're reacting to them.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. I dig it. Now, you said you got to do improv as Leapfrog on She-Hulk Attorney at Law. But before we even get into that, how did you come to land this role? Because this is a big deal, man. This is Marvel Studios here. This is a Disney Plus series. And this show is just so much fun. So the character obviously fits so well. But how did this come to be?
So, I don't know. I think maybe I had done like maybe one Marvel audition before this.
Do you know what it was for?
Probably not supposed to say.
Okay.
It's already been aired and everything. But it was a smaller role for the same show.
I gotcha.
And that was like my first Marvel thing ever. And I was like, man, all these NDAs you gotta sign. I'm like, I don't know what show this is. And like, what kind of character is this? Like, the sides, there's not watermarks. It's just very like, they don't give anything away.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine, man.
But then the next one, it's crazy. It's crazy. Do you want me to just tell you the whole audition thing?
Yeah, let's hear it, man.
Sure.
So, Lauren, one of my friends, I actually worked for her studio Swag out here in Atlanta. I was going in for another audition. She was going to take me for something, and I was just like, ooh, something else just came through, and I kind of want to do this one instead. It was such a last minute. I barely prepared for it.
Right.
And as I was reading it with her, I realized, wait, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
And I think, I kind of already, I don't want to sound like, I don't know, I kind of felt like this was mine already. Like, when I read it, I was like, wait, like, this was, like, me in high school. Like, I've always been this goofy guy, character, whatever. And so we just taped it, and then I found out 2 days later that they wanted me for a callback. It's funny because I was at the gym, and they're like, hey, casting for Marvel wants to do a callback with you in an hour. Can you make it? And I'm like, oh, my gosh, yes. And I just, like, I got a quick, you know.
Oh, yeah, you got to make that.
Yeah. Made it back, did the last second audition, and it just... I think within a week I found out I got the part, and it was just very... It's like one of those things where when I first taped it, I was just like, ooh, I think this is mine. Like,
yeah.
I didn't even send it off. I was just like, ooh, I feel like this is mine. And it just worked out so beautifully, because it did. It ended up being mine. I feel like that was, you know, some sort of spiritual insight of just like, relax, you got this one, you know?
So how do you, like, take that news when you get that call? That has to be...
I'm trying to remember. You know what? I'm just going to tell you. This is a weird thing, and I bet you my buddy's going to be watching this podcast. So I'm playing video games with my friend James, and I'm very spiritual. I'm very, like, if I feel something, I'm just like, ooh, sweet, God's talking to me right now.
Right.
And I promise you this happened, guys. I'm playing games. I love games. I love gaming. And so me and my best friend James, who's out in Oklahoma, were playing some video games. And out of nowhere, I just started busting out crying. I was like, dude, I think I'm about to book something. Like, I think I'm about to book something big next week. I said, by next Tuesday. I was so specific
That
about
is very specific.
I was very specific. And I don't know why. It just, like, came into my heart. And I just, like, said it out loud. And I was like, dude, you just put a lot of pressure on yourself. And I was like, wait, what if that wasn't me that put that pressure on myself? Like, I felt like that was some sort of almost, like, spiritual insight that I was gaining. And then Tuesday comes around and I book the role. I get a call from my agent telling me that I'm going to be on a show called She-Hulk. Not as the name that I thought I was going to be. I'm going to be Leapfrog. And I was like, Leapfrog? Who's Leapfrog? I looked him up. I'm like, wait, I'm going to do that? Like, it was... I didn't realize how, like, kind of big of a deal it was, but I did know it was mine and it was coming. It's a really weird thing. Like, it's kind of a spiritual thing, and I've always been a very spiritual person.
No, I totally get that. I believe in all that same stuff, man. I think that's awesome. Yeah.
I was just like, dude, God just told me I'm booking a Marvel role. And then next thing I know, I booked a Marvel. I'm like, whoa, this is wild. Like, it's like one of those, at that point, I accepted it. Because sometimes I feel like a lot of guys and girls would get a role like that, and they would immediately try to tell themselves why they don't deserve it.
Right.
But for me, I had already decided to accept it before it even got to me. And I think because of that, there was no hesitation anymore. I knew it was going to be perfect. We're not perfect, but I knew it was going to be something really great for me. Just because of all this insight that I was feeling before it even happened.
Yeah, and you get, like, your own episode, you know, pretty much. You were, like, a main part of this episode, and you share it with Daredevil. You get to share it with Daredevil. That is awesome. So what was that like? Like, what's it like being on set? And I know, okay, for She-Hulk, when she's in her She-Hulk form, they have a stand-in, like, actress, right, who's extremely tall. So is she there... She's there on set, like that's who you're acting with? Is that how it works?
It's weird because they have like so many different things. Like you do one scene probably like 10 times through, you know, I don't know, I might be exaggerating, but and I mean 10, not 10 takes, I mean you're gonna set up 10 different ways of the scene.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And like there was one where it was just Tatiana, and then there was one where it was Tatiana with all her stuff on and like this whole I can't remember what they named him. But there's like a green mask that was this high above her head.
Right.
And everyone was just like, look into those eyes. And it was just like, it was pretty wild. But I actually forgot the question.
Oh, jeez, I forgot the question. Oh, just what was it like? I don't know. I asked like
what was it like? Yeah.
I had multiple questions in there.
Obviously, it was just like one of those things where I was just like, dude, this is wild. And like all the different things we were doing, I was just like, man, Marvel really is like, there's so much put into all of this, and it's so much creativity involved because the end product just looks so much different. And I knew it was going to be great. But her stand-in was really, really cool. We spent a lot of time together because she was her chair was always next to mine, so we were always just joking around, being fun.
Awesome.
That's awesome. I got a question for you. So that awesome roundhouse kick that you do, was that you or was that your stunt guy? And with that being said, how much stunts did you get to do?
I did as many stunts as they would let me do.
Uh-huh.
Because, being a wrestler, I'm like, let's not waste that. Let's do as many stunts as you guys are going to let me do. And I did. I was just like, guys, please let me get on a harness just once. I don't care if you don't even use it. Just like, and then we did. At the very last, it's like, it wasn't even one of my shoot dates. It was like a couple months after. And they're like, hey, you want to come in? And then I got to get on a harness and fly around.
That's awesome.
Like, not even for the show, just for fun?
I think we ended up using that take when I first blast off and it kind of cuts out. And I put down. Like, we were doing stuff like that. And that was just amazing.
Yeah.
How was that?
So was it, were you in the roundhouse? Because that was awesome.
You're talking about the spinning toe jam?
Yeah, the spinning, just like you're about to get him, but you completely
name right,
whiff.
Tim, the spinning toe jam.
The spinning toe jam. I apologize.
So, that was improv. That was actually improv. The name of it was. But there would be times where I would go out and do the thing, and then I had a stunt double go out and kind of do that same thing. But there would actually be times where, like, okay, so here's where the stunt double's doing all this stuff out next to that van. And I'm like over here watching it, and I'm like animated with it, and I'm just like saying random stuff, just like whatever. And I eventually was just like spinning toe jam. And I made it into the final cut. And
so they were so you were mic'd up.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
I think I wasn't mic'd up, but I was trying to get the physicality of it. Like, nobody asked me to do that, but he was doing it, and I was like trying to get physical with it and see like what works. What would I say? What would Leapfrog say right here? And I'm just like, spinning toe jam.
Spinning toe jam. That's awesome.
Like the point up and laugh and stuff like that. Like, I felt like those were little bitty nuances that kind of made the character just a little bit more lovable.
So with this character, because this character has a ton of energy, obviously, and is on the dim side, to be, put it politely, is how much of this was your, like, kind of creation, and how much of it was Marvel already had this character, and, like, this is how we want him? Because this is a character who isn't super huge in the comics, so there's a lot of kind of leeway with how you could adapt him, I feel like. Was a lot of that from you, or...?
I think it was written. I think I booked the role, because we were all aligned. I think I was kind of on the same page from the start. When I read the audition, I think I got it. I was like, oh, this guy sucks.
Right.
But he thinks he's the best thing in the world. And I was just kind of hyping up and playing that kind of energy into everything. But I feel like it wasn't me making the decisions. I just think we were all so aligned of like, yes, this is what this guy is. You know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. It's a great meshing of the minds coming together, and everything works out.
But that being said, Kat, Corey, the director, she was the one that was bringing that out of me. Like, it was a different type of direction than I've ever had. Like, with Clint Eastwood, it was very just like, hey, you know what to do. Just go out there and have fun.
Right.
With her, it was like, it was almost that same energy of like, you know what you're doing, but just, like, she would give me ideas. She would like get hype up in there with me, and I would just be like, yeah. Like, I see exactly. And then like I would take what she says and kind of add my own little bit to it, because that's what she wanted as a director. It was like, take this, but make it yours. One of those type of things. But I loved her direction. It's loose but specific, if that makes any sense.
It makes perfect sense. And I don't want to backtrack, but since you brought back up Clint Eastwood, I had wanted to ask when we were talking Clint Eastwood, do you have a favorite, like, go-to, that's your favorite Clint Eastwood movie? Like, acting or directing or one of each?
I mean, dude, Richard Jewell is good.
Richard Jewell is very good.
Paul Walter Hauser is amazing. I thought The Mule was a cool movie. It was very... I had never watched a movie like that before. It was very unique and special, and it's just like, I don't know. Hey, all of his movies are so great. $1 Million Baby.
Oh yeah, that one's
$1 Million Baby. Oh man.
Yeah, and I love boxing, so watching that was just incredible to see him hitting the bag.
But see, that was like 2 movies in one, though, which was crazy because you have that whole him helping this fighter come up and that drama with that, and then the moment she just hits that head, it becomes a completely different movie.
Yeah.
And I remember watching theaters just like this, the rest of the movie, like I'm on the edge of my seat because I have no idea. We just took a left turn. Yeah.
Right. Great.
Oh, it was so good.
Dude, I gotta go Unforgiven, man. Unforgiven's got to be my favorite. I like the
Unforgiven
Western stuff.
That's what I grew up on too.
That's like I feel like that's a lot of people's number one.
I know. I feel like it's almost a cop out, but it's honestly my favorite one. Yeah.
It's incredible. Yeah.
I grew up with my dad watching a lot of spaghetti westerns, and so I'm going with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Nothing about that 3-way. That whole final shootout with the music and
where it takes so long to even get to the
music.
shooting.
Yes.
Ennio
Not long.
Ennio Morricone is the
composer.
He did the score for a lot of great westerns. But it was Clint Eastwood's movies that got me into western music and showed me the power of music and cinema. And
that's awesome, man.
Paying more attention to music and cinema, and I was like, wow, like I feel like they kind of trailblazed a little bit. Like they kind of led the way of like you can play into the music and make it really work. Like
and then you got to go be in a Clint Eastwood movie, man. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
but they were so good too. They're such like slow burns, like all those old school westerns, all the Man with No Name, and then like the old time, Once Upon a Time in the West, like that just slow builds. I don't think you can do it anymore because everyone's like, let's go fast.
Everyone's like TikTok.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, so we know that you had this childhood growing up where you loved Clint Eastwood and you got to accomplish that. Was it the same with comics? Were you like a comic reader?
You know what? I did. When I think comic reader, like I didn't read like I wouldn't get like the new edition of whatever and read it.
Right.
But I specifically remember because I was a huge Spider-Man fan. I thought I was going to play Spider-Man, and you know what? Tom Holland got lucky. But but I had this Spider-Man comic book that was like a collection of comic books. It was like this thick. And I remember going on a trip to Arizona with my dad and my brother and sister, and I was in the back seat and just reading through those comics, and that's when I kind of started to really like fall in love with Spider-Man and less of the comics and more of the movies. Like I remember going and seeing Spider-Man in 2001 in theaters. I think it was in July. I think it was in summer, but I remember going and seeing that, and that was when I fell in love with cinema, actually. So it's funny you brought that up. But I remember going and watching Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. That's
so good.
That's the best movie ever, dude.
Right.
I remembered screaming at, like, he was trying to figure out how to do his web. And I was a first grader, and I stood up in the theater and was like, it's like this! Like, I was so into it.
Yeah.
Spider-Man was the GOAT for me. And
dude, the 90s Spider-Man cartoon, like, I didn't read a ton of comics. Like, I've read more comics as an adult than I did as a kid. But I loved the comic characters. So I was always watching, the X-Men animated series, Batman the animated series, Spider-Man, all that stuff. And then the movies, like you said, couldn't get enough of them, was eating them up. So it's just, and now, with the MCU, just such a huge, expansive world that has just come together. And it's mind-boggling how they've pulled this, together from Iron Man to now, and then bringing in the Tobey Maguire movies like you were talking about. Just absolutely wild stuff. So to be a part of that, man, congratulations. I'm so glad that you got this role and get to experience that.
Yeah, it was, it's literally, like, I feel like it's every actor's dream, even if it's just for a scene, to go and play a hero. And I got to play the kid that thinks he's a hero, so I get to play even more as the hero. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I got to play really into the hero and be like, stop, bad guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you get to be both, actually. You got to be the hero and the villain, so you got, like, the best of both worlds. I thought that was great. And I don't know, I'm sure it's because I'm the actor, so of course, I'm the guy. So of course I'm going to sit here and be like, I'm not the bad guy. But truly, like, I never felt like I was the bad guy. I'm like,
well, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, do you think...
Man, what are you talking about? Like, I just need this dude to make my suit. He didn't make it right the first time. Maybe I used some stuff that I wasn't supposed to. But, like, come on, man. Like, just make... I was going to set him free. And I had him with he was comfortable. He could sew. He could do,
Yeah.
give him a high C or something. Like, he's fine. I didn't hurt the guy. That's the thing. I'm not a bad guy. What's going on?
Right. And that's the perfect mindset for a bad guy. Like Thanos didn't think he was the villain. You know, they have their own motivation. Speaking of Thanos, I know that, Leapfrog is just so absurdly cocky and obtuse that he thinks he probably could have taken down Thanos, no doubt. What do you think would have happened if Leapfrog came face to face with Thanos?
So it's crazy because I was on the purple carpet. I say red carpet, but it was actually purple for She-Hulk. And someone was saying, I did most of my interviews in character.
Okay.
And so they were just kind of asking me about my character, and I just blacked out. I was just like, he's the best. Like, Thanos, I could dust that guy easily.
Right.
Like, it was just, it was crazy that, like, I said that, and now it was, like, the title of some article of, like, Leapfrog can beat Thanos. I'm like, no, I can't really. I don't. He would blow my gum. But Leapfrog thinks that he would just whack Thanos, like spinning heel kick to the chin. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's say
you couldn't even take the two thugs stealing TVs, but he would have no problem charging at Thanos.
Of course. I'm not going to hurt my fellow citizens. I want to slap them on the wrist and teach them a lesson. But Thanos, I will turn him into dust.
What's funny it's all about your opponent, if their game elevates your game.
You got the competition. Exactly.
I got you.
It's funny that you say that because I was thinking I had already watched Peacemaker on HBO, but I've been doing like a rewatch with my wife because she hadn't seen it. And your character, at moments, a lot of it's the energy and maybe the voice, kind of reminds me of Vigilante. Have you seen Peacemaker?
I haven't. I haven't seen Peacemaker, but that has been such a common comment on my character. People was like, this dude is Peacemaker. He's like the MCU Peacemaker.
Right.
I still haven't looked at who this Peacemaker is, guy, but you know what I have to say? Peacemaker's like me. All right?
Right.
Peacemaker is like Leapfrog. Okay?
It's the other way around.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm kidding.
No, I did have one quick question. I know there's, of course, a lot of details we can't go into. We know Marvel keeps a tight lid, and we respect them for that. So, how tight did they keep the lid on you? Like, did you know Daredevil was going to be in your episode? Like, how long before you got into this did you realize you're going to be working with Charlie Cox?
I'm trying to remember when I realized that it was going to be that. It might have been when I went to LA to try on to start the process of getting my costume made. I think that I saw something somewhere on like a little blueprint of my outfit that said same material as Daredevil. And I was like, wait a second. Daredevil or what? And they're like, oh, we don't know.
Yeah.
I think you just accidentally fired someone at Marvel.
Yeah. But I think that was kind of when I realized that I might have something to do with him. But then I read the script and saw like, oh, dang, Daredevil's in this episode. That's
you got a lot to do with him. He's chasing. He's destroying your car. He's on top of your car.
He messed up my car. He owes us.
Okay, so I'm not going to ask anything if you're going to have a future or anything. I would love to know, but I would guess.
Dude, I would love to know.
I was going to say, they keep tight lids on this stuff.
I'd be one of the last people to know, that's for sure. But
dude, you'll just show up to shoot like an Oscar Mayer commercial, and they'll be like, surprise, it's actually Marvel, you're back in it. This is Avengers.
Frog hot dog commercial. What?
Yeah. I just assume they pull up in a van and like grab you and be like, we're shooting Marvel, get in,
Dude, I would be like, yes, tie me up, let's go. Like, let's
Did you watch the Netflix Daredevil show before this? Like, were you already a Charlie Cox fan?
I remember watching that hallway scene, and y'all know what I'm talking about.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And it seemed like they kind of paid homage to it a little bit here. They did a little hallway fight here. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was a big time.
Oh, 100%.
But, which just to, not to get too off topic, I thought it was hilarious that they had the rest of the goons kind of clump up and then She-Hulk just
yes.
Takes the moment, yeah.
That's incredible.
It's her show, yeah.
No, I remembered watching that, and because I didn't watch it before I took the role, just because I wasn't really watching. I don't watch a lot of stuff, to be honest. I probably should admit that. But then I watched the Daredevil series because one of my friends, Garrett, is a massive Daredevil fan, and so I watched it when I was in Oklahoma with them, and I was just like, hold up. I was like, dude, what are you whining at? Like, how many people did he just beat up in that hallway? Just one, like, I could watch that a million times. And then
so well choreographed.
Yeah, it turns out like that's one of the most like highly praised choreographed fight scenes of all time.
Yeah.
And I was like, that makes sense.
That's why they needed to bring Charlie Cox back, man. Everybody loved him in that role, even though this is, reboot, soft reboot, whatever it is, reimagining, different version. Yeah. Charlie Cox is just Daredevil to people. It's like Ryan Reynolds played the absolutely awful Deadpool in the Logan, or not Logan, but in the Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine, where they sewed his mouth shut and he had swords for hands or something. And now, even though this is a different version, the one that we've got now, people were still like, no, but Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool, so bring it back. Like, you can't replace
Nobody else could have done that. Dude, Deadpool is that's a dream. His role, like, Ryan Reynolds is the man.
Well, listen, man, I actually think Daredevil and Leapfrog would be hilarious together on camera.
Deadpool or Daredevil?
Oh, I'm sorry, Deadpool. Deadpool and Leapfrog, yeah. The high energy, just kind of off the wall chemistry that would be going on in there, man.
I told my best friend James Marsh, he's probably watching this, but I told him, and maybe it was like, I think it was literally just last night we were gaming, and I was like, dude, if they made a Deadpool movie with Leapfrog, like, me and Ryan Reynolds would sit there for like 30 minutes just on one line of dialogue, just going completely off and just bouncing.
Right.
I know I could work good with that guy because I feel like we have a very similar sense of humor and like comedy.
No, I see that for sure. Yeah.
Marvel, if you're watching, I'm telling you, that's a blockbuster waiting to happen.
I gotta ask. You said gaming a couple of times. I feel if we don't ask, we're gonna get yelled at. What are we playing? What are we playing? What's the game of choice right now?
And I did want to know what you were playing when you got the news, or the feeling. I want to know what you were playing then too. So
okay. So let me think. So right now, what I'm currently playing, it's weird because this past week I haven't been gaming as much, but I am way too good at the game Rocket League. That's been a game I've played since it came out, like in 2015. I am a massive. And my manager's listening right now. He knows, like, UFC is like, it's like, for me, it's like acting, UFC. UFC is just under acting, like mixed martial arts. I love it. So I play the UFC, the EA UFC game a lot. I've put
my buddy keeps telling me how many times he keeps getting banned from Rocket League from just all kinds of things he does. Yeah, he's a big talker.
And, dude, Rocket League is, and I hope that there's some Rocket League players watching because they'll be like, he's right. But, dude, they're so toxic. If you barely miss a ball, your partner, your teammate's just going to be saying, like, what a save, what a save, what a save.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, I might have gotten banned at that time or two, you know what I mean?
Allegedly. Where's the lawyer?
I didn't show me the screenshots.
See, I don't do a ton of gaming, but when I do, it's normally like a solo player, like horror game. I like The Last of Us, the Alien Isolation, stuff like that. Resident Evil games. Those are normally what I play.
Oh yeah,
and scare the crap out of myself.
Game is The Last of Us. I know.
Oh yeah, man, so good. Such a good game. I hadn't played the second one yet, but the first one's awesome.
Well, they're making a series, and apparently it's pretty good.
Yeah. It looks good, man. I saw the trailer. It looks very good.
Yeah.
So UFC, do you have any martial arts background? Are you trying to learn some more to kind of like, because you're so into it, or?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, it's a big passion of mine, mixed martial arts.
Well, you did the wrestling, so did you ever transfer over into like jiu-jitsu or anything?
Yeah. So wrestling, I like to consider a martial art. The only reason is because it's probably the most dominant background in the UFC right now. I mean, if you think of most of the champions right now, they all started with wrestling. And I consider Kamaru Usman the champ right now.
Okay.
then I started to do. I started to train at America Top Team in Atlanta out here.
Okay.
For jiu-jitsu, no gi, which is the gi is that big robe that they wear.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is very beneficial for like self-defense, like grabbing people's clothes and learning things. But no gi is when you wear like a really tight, spandex type clothing, and it's more sporty, it's more athletic, more kind of faster paced, and you have to use body locks. Like you can't just grip someone's sleeves. You have to find things on their body to latch onto to start transitioning to takedowns.
You're not choking them out with their collar.
Yeah, you're not choking them out with collar.
Yeah.
I think I've caught someone in a triangle, and that's one.
Have you?
Yeah. As a wrestler, I feel like that's a very proud moment. It was in the room. It was in the training room. So like,
yeah,
he probably beat me 5 times after that. But
right, but you got that one.
Got that
when
one.
When a wrestler catches someone in a triangle, I feel like that's when they've kind of are moved. That's when they've made the big jump, because a wrestler's whole thing is don't expose, don't get on your back, don't let them get
right.
you. Whereas jiu-jitsu, it's like pull them on top of you on your back, like, and work for arm bars, work for triangles, guillotines, all that.
Yeah. I interviewed earlier this week Lauren Mary Kim, who's stunt woman. She did some stunt work with some various Marvel and Star Wars stuff, including Ms. Marvel. But and she was talking about how much training and stuff goes into the stunt work, and she has a ton of martial arts background. My gosh, which one did she say was the main one? You would probably know. It sounds like capybara, but I know that's like a rodent. So it's
capoeira.
Yeah, that's the one, not the rodent.
Capoeira.
Say it again.
Oh, okay. What is
I'm
that?
saying it terribly.
I asked her. She said it was like almost like a kind of dance, kind of martial arts.
Yeah, it's like I think it's from Brazil. I think it is, or where they'll do a handstand and kick you in the head.
I first learned it
only
watching.
The strong?
I watched Bob's Burgers, and there was an episode where there was an instructor in that, and he was just dancing around Bob, whipping him with his ponytail until Bob pooped his pants.
Yes.
So that's where I was familiar with it from.
Okay.
But
there's a 90s movie called Only the Strong.
Before we close out here, Brandon, is there anything that we didn't touch on that you just think is good information, or a little-known fact, or a fun fact, or just something for us to end out on one last golden nugget?
Well, 2 fun facts.
Nice.
Filming Leapfrog. It's not even a fun fact. This is just like that was literally the most fun I've ever had in my entire life.
That's awesome.
So I want people to know that when you're watching, people that haven't watched my episode yet, you might enjoy it more if you know I was having the time of my life filming that.
Yeah, it seems
like
Marvel
is. A lot of things get cut, a lot of whatever. But I mean, I'm so grateful for everything that came out, all the footage that made the cut, and I had the time of my life, and I hope everyone enjoys Leapfrog the character.
Absolutely.
But I wouldn't mind touching on is I've got a pretty cool guest star role in the pilot episode of a ABC series coming out called Will Trent. It probably won't be out until the spring of 2023, maybe a little before. Don't mark me on that.
Okay.
But I think this is going to be a good time for you guys to see Brandon as an actor and not as Leapfrog. I think it's a completely different energy. And I'm actually, I'm almost just excited for this to come out as I was for Leapfrog because of how different they are. And I feel like an actor's dream is to not be typecast, is to be looked at for everything. And I think I'm really excited for the world to see me in this light.
So you're saying it's more of like a dramatic role?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a crime drama. And I can't really give away. Oh well, I will not say really anything about my role, but it was a very interesting role to play, especially compared to who the lead was. It for me, you have moments, Leapfrog so far was the coolest moment of my life. I'm a movie character. That's awesome. But as an artist, I feel like Will Trent it scratched that artist itch of I'm a serious actor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm actually really, really, really excited for people to see Will Trent episode 1.
Awesome, man. I'm excited to see
That's
it as
awesome.
well. Tim, you got anything you want to ask or close out on before we end it?
No, I was going to comment. I think, like you were saying, how much fun you're having doing. When I was watching it, I was like, this is a blast.
Yeah.
Your character came off just so fun, so likable, just having that good time. So when when he kind of toes the line of what he should or shouldn't do, you're almost like, come on, man. Like you're such a good, like, I got you doing, but it was a great time, and it definitely shows. I think it played well on screen. You did a great job. It was a lot of fun to watch you. And I'm excited for what you do next. I'm glad to know that you're not 38 and you're only 22 or
27.
We got to find
27.
I was going to find who wrote that.
We're here to take over, baby.
Do it. I'm
See,
excited for you, man. Great job.
Irrefutable evidence right there that you cannot believe what you read on the on the internet right there.
So
Who would have guessed that? Who would have guessed you couldn't read on?
I know,
everything?
right? And
I
also,
believe it.
I want to thank you guys all for just ignoring my dad, who keeps walking back and forth to get a beer as we're recording. We just pretend he's not there.
Little brewski, maybe you can toss one my way.
I know, right?
Yeah, right.
Brewski.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and close it out. If you want to get a hold of Cinema Stubs, you can either tweet us at Cinema Stubs, you can email us at cinemastubs@fandomwire.com. Tim, where could people get a hold of you on social medias? Are you on social medias? Are you a recluse?
I'm on it. I'm kind of a recluse, but yeah, at TM Scholes, SCHOLAS. You can find me there. It was fun. Thank you, Josh, for bringing me on. Help you out, sitting in for Matt.
Perfect.
Brandon.
And
Brandon, thank you, man, for taking your time with us. I really appreciate it, man.
Brandon, where can people follow you and keep up with your career before you jump off here?
So you can follow me on Instagram at Brandon_Stanley. That's pretty much it. I got the Insta, I got Facebook, that's for fam, whatever. But
right, you're not a Twitter guy though.
I might get a Twitter going.
I just started Twitter.
You might see some frog tweets.
Okay.
Oh man, tweeting that'd be great. Tweeting as the character.
Just tweeting in character, just for everyone. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, thank you again for coming on. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up, and we will see you guys next week.